that girl, la 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 la. Eve's that girl, la 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 la. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. It's time for an episode review and discussion of a brand new Marvel Cinematic Universe tied into show. It's part of Phase 3, 4, I guess official. What phase are we in? Anyway, tonight we're talking about She-Hulk, Episode 1, and I'm excited because we have a fantastic panel tonight to discuss this first episode in full spoiler detail. Joining us tonight is Jelani. What's up, my man?
What's up, man? Glad to be here. Station, pop, the usuals. Man, yes. It's good to be here. Yeah, this is our first or second discussion for, I guess, you guys, but first for me on this episode journey that we're doing with She-Hulk. So I'm pretty excited.
Nice. I appreciate you being here, and I really appreciate that passive-aggressive kind of jab at not being there for Miss Marvel, but come on. Did you really want to be there? No. Speaking of there for Miss Marvel, he was there for half of Miss Marvel. It's Manny. What is up, my man?
Station, dude. I'm pumped. I'm ready to talk about this. It's been a minute since I've seen a Shrek movie. I'm fucking excited.
Oh, shit, man. Speaking of Shrek movies, his favorite film of all time is the third Shrek film. It's Fable. What's up, man?
Station. Ready for some gigantic moronic splendor with the PCP Army. Let's go.
Oh shit, he said it.
By the way, t-shirts are and by the way, t-shirts are now available over at the T Public site. And then we got Brooks in the house. What is up, Brooks?
Oh.
Yeah. Very profound. All right, and we also got Steph from Missing Link. I said Steph from Missing Link. Steph is the missing link, I should say. What is up, man?
What's going on?
I'm just chilling with the fellas to talk about She-Hulk. Very excited to talk about this show. We got 9 episodes of this, right? On Thursdays. We initially thought it was Wednesday. It was going to be a different panel. And then we were like, was it Herm that was like, y'all realize this is on Thursdays, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've watched the first episode of She-Hulk. We are going to be talking about it in detail, in depth, and with spoilers, right? Right down below, Steph, it says spoiler talk, right? All right, so overall, I thought it was okay. I thought it was decent. I thought it was okay. I was expecting John Byrne, She-Hulk. I got a little bit of that. I got a lot of Dan Slott, She-Hulk, which was built upon John Byrne, She-Hulk, because regardless of what Buscema and I don't even remember the writer did with Savage She-Hulk, it was what Byrne did that really kind of cemented that character. It was in Avengers, it was in Fantastic Four, and then it was sensational, right? That's where she first breaks the fourth wall. So I was expecting a comedic, lighthearted tone. And I wasn't disappointed with what I got as far as the tone they were trying to go for. I don't think they quite got there. I think there were some jokes that were funny, but I think there could have been more jokes. I think it could have had a quicker pace. It should have been a little bit more like poppy, or it could have slowed down and been character driven. Like, do you want to be snappy funny? Well, you got to kind of be quick. Or if you want to do the slow thing, you kind of got to start small and build the character. I don't know. I thought it was okay. The CG, we'll get into all of the factors, but overall, I thought it was okay. Jelani, overall, what'd you think about it?
Yeah, I agree. It was okay. I think the CG is a lot better than what we saw in the trailers. Like, it's a lot. You can see the texture in her face now, as opposed to that matte green that they were doing in the trailers. So I think it looks better. I think Smart Hulk looks great. It's like from Infinity War Hulk. So they nailed that, and they nailed Jennifer as well as that look. It's not too fast. It's a decent pace. It's not as quippy and funny as I thought it was gonna be, because I was expecting sensational. I mean, she breaks the fourth wall like twice in this episode. So everything in the trailer is pretty decent. I mean, it leads up to what it's going to be. So, I mean, as far as first episodes go, it's pretty stellar. I mean, I like it. It's what we're getting now, instead of getting a movie of this, which, you know, I think this deserves a TV show, but I think a movie should have come before this for some reason. I don't know why, but, you know, just to get her backstory out of the way and, you know, make her fight, you know, an awesome villain. I don't care who it is at this point, but I think it's off to a good start as a show.
Well, you telling me that you didn't get a giant epic superhero battle in this one with her and Titania?
It was cool.
Like, come on.
That was Titania? Okay, then.
Yeah, I know you couldn't recognize her, but yeah, that's
Punch.
That's who she's supposed to.
But,
that was a weird like drop kick thing, like the weird like flying kick thing, like straight. Like that's Liu Kang.
Yep.
She stole that from Liu Kang, man.
Yeah.
Like it looks so dumb, man. It like at least watch an episode of Power Rangers before you try to do something like this, man. Like maybe
You should do the bicycle kick.
But
Right.
Now, also the scene, that the most pivotal scene, there was a writer, I read one of the articles that said a writer was like, there's this bathroom scene, and once you get into the bathroom scene, nobody wanted it in there, but I wanted to keep it in there to make sure that it's exactly what She-Hulk is supposed to mean. And I was like, okay, so I saw it, you know, I heard about that, and then I watched the scene, and I was like, yeah, it's a bunch of ladies like helping a lady out when she's in trouble. So I'm guessing, I guess that's what they're trying to go for. So I think it is an important scene, and I think you know, girls stick together. So you know, that's awesome. That's all I got to say.
Maybe we should have had a woman on this panel. Maybe we should think about that for the next show.
Yeah.
Speaking of women on the panel, the best we got is Manny. Manny, why don't you tell us real quick what you think overall about the show, about the episode?
You know, I've never read a She-Hulk comic, so I had like zero expectations going in. The thing people kept saying online was the breaking the fourth wall thing. That made me nervous because I was like, well, that's a Deadpool thing. We haven't seen it in the MCU, and what is this going to look like going forward if characters are going to be addressing the audience? I think it worked in context of the show, so that was like the big stumbling block for me. I think going into the mindset of the show, I had to come to grips with the idea that Marvel is just like a sitcom comedy like franchise now. You know what I mean? Like everything is comedic. Like there's never going to be a sad Hulk hitchhiking down the road to some sad ass music, right? I mean, everything is jokey now. And once I got past that, I was like, oh, okay, I can roll with it. And it was fun. I'd say it wasn't as good as Miss Marvel's first episode. Wasn't as good as WandaVision's first episode. I'm gonna put it. I'd say just slightly below Falcon and Winter Soldier's first episode. Well, maybe on par. So it was okay. Sorry.
Okay. Now, a couple of days ago, I started seeing the buzz start coming in, and the first stuff I saw was people going, critics are saying this is the best first episode of an MCU show ever. And I was thinking to myself, God damn, I see an article like this every show, like 2 days before every Marvel show comes out. They're like, this is the best ever. Then articles came out. They were like, this episode is trash. Right. And then I'm like, okay, well, we'll just wait and see. And expectation is one thing. Comedy is one thing. This is one of those things that should lend itself to Marvel's kind of style of comedy. Right. But where are those comedy writers? Where's that talent? Like, bring them in. Come on. Like, I felt like there was a weird kind of pace to it. It was interesting. We'll get into it. Fable, what do you think overall?
Ruffalo is not cut out for he's not as funny as the other guys. I think that's part of it. Sorry.
He needs somebody like Robert Downey Jr. Yeah. Like he's the straight guy, right? He's the straight man is what he is in the comedic duo, right? Speaking of the straight man in the comedic duo, Fable is the straight man on all of his shows, and everybody else is just, you know, was it Abbott or Costello? I couldn't fucking remember. All right. Anyway, Fable, what did you think of She-Hulk? It was a long way to get to that.
Yeah, I agree with all you guys' points, man. Definitely okay. It was good. It was entertaining. It tried to do a few things, and I think it just didn't reach the level on everything it tried to do. Kind of fell flat on, you know, like you said, breaking the fourth wall. You know, didn't really do it the best. It tried to go woke for a second. It kind of didn't do it the best. You know, comedy wasn't the best. You know, but this kind of show taps into that corniness, that quirkiness that I do like. You know, it's the reason I watched like the first 3 seasons of The Flash and those CW shows. You know, it's the reason I love Saved by the Bell and things like that. I think Miss Marvel and this show kind of tap into that a little bit, and that's what keeps me there. Even though I know it's not the best and all these other things, and it's falling flat in certain things. But I did enjoy the relationship between Hulk and She-Hulk. Thought it was the best part of the episode. So I enjoyed it overall.
Best part of the episode outside of the Eve song. Okay, we can all agree on that. Okay, like, we can all agree on that. Anyway, Brooke, speaking of Eve's biggest fan back in the day. I'm not even lying. When Rough Riders was going on, all that shit, and I was like, "Nah, DMX only." And he was like, "Nah, man, listen to some Eve." Nah, I'm just kidding. But Eve was the shit back in the day, man. Anyway, Brooks, what did you think about the first episode overall?
I liked it. I thought it was fun. I'm more familiar with She-Hulk as like because she was a member of the Fantastic Four for a little while. I'm not as familiar with her like as in her own book, you know. And you know she's been an Avenger too. But I like how it seems like they're going to try and make it kind of like a cross between like a superhero show and like a legal drama type thing, which they didn't get to do in this one because, you know, they had to do the setup. They had to tell the origin story. But I thought it was fun. Like I liked Bruce and Bruce's like banter. I liked the whole stone throwing contest.
Yeah.
And how like when he throws the stone up into orbit, she just like, good for you.
What is he say? He says something there too. He's like, you know, just to show you how it's done.
I'm just showing you how it's done.
But yeah, I thought it was fun. I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with it.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how much Hulk's actually going to be in it, because it seemed like in the trailer, all the Hulk stuff we saw in this first episode. So probably no more. But you know, we'll see. Steph, what did you think about this first episode?
I'm kind of the opposite of you guys. I actually really enjoyed it as a first episode. You said something about it being character driven, and it was just Banner and Jennifer, or Bruce and Jennifer, the entire episode. So I don't know how much more character driven you can get beyond that. I thought the training montage was super dope. I don't think the comedy was forced. I think it fit the moments that it was going for. It was charming for its first episode for me. I thought, you know, I once again don't have a lot of context when it comes to She-Hulk either, but for someone, you know, who doesn't have that context, I thought it was a great first episode.
Oh man, oh yeah, fair enough. Good points. You know, I mean, I liked it still. Like I enjoyed it. I just feel like it could have been snappier. You're right. And when I say like character driven, like meaning like build the character of Jennifer before we get to Bruce, right? But they were building it through Bruce and their relationship. So I did like that, right? And what Fable was talking about with the two of them and their competition, right? That Brooks was talking about, right? Like that's really, really funny. Like, and so there are moments that are very charming. So overall, I think we all thought it was pretty decent, but Steph liked it a little bit more. Let's get into the performances. So we have what's her name that's playing Jennifer?
Tatiana Maslany. I can
Maslany. Okay, Tatiana Mas. She's from like Black Mirror or something, right?
She's from Orphan Black.
Orphan Black. My bad. I get
she
those
plays
two mixed
multiple clones of herself.
I watched like
the first. Really great job.
I watched like the first couple episodes of that. Then never got back into it. But I thought she did fine in the episode. Like totally fine. I don't know what I'm expecting, to be honest. Like I don't know if I'm expecting something more like if you're gonna go sitcom comedy, I don't know. Maybe go. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm expecting. But I liked her performance as Jennifer. I don't feel like we really got enough of her as Jennifer on her own, right? But what we did get from her was good. I think she had good chemistry with Mark Ruffalo, and I think he did fine too, right? He does have that deadpan delivery. Everybody else is going to be hard to judge because you get so little of the other supporting cast that are going to come back, because I think both of those characters are from the comic, like the two, that the paralegal and the other lawyer that she's talking to. I like how they tease us that she's breaking the fourth wall at first, then she doesn't. But my favorite breaking the fourth wall moment was when she breaks the fourth wall with Bruce there.
With Bruce, yeah.
And Bruce is like, wait, what? She's just like, I
What?
don't know. I really like that bit. So I think the performances were decent for what they were given. And maybe some of my issues might be with the script. We'll get into that. But what do you think of the performances, Jelani?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Jennifer and Bruce are a good duo. They do play well off of each other. So I like the performances of those two, especially because, I mean, it's building up her character, how she became She-Hulk. It's pretty much her origin story in a sense. She was in a car accident and Bruce Banner was there and gave her a blood transfusion, and that blood transfusion gave her the powers of the Hulk. So it's a lot. It's totally
She shot up by like some gang members or something. That's what happens in the comic.
I thought he gave her a blood.
Yeah, it's a blood transfusion, but she's shot up by some like mafia dudes or some shit or something like that.
Some
right?
craziness. From ages
in this
ago.
one, that's one thing
that's
I didn't.
What it should be.
I was just saying that's one thing I didn't like about this is like just some blood falls up in her fucking arm and like I'm She-Hulk and I'm like
well, you saw what it did to Stan Lee.
He's got irradiated blood though.
Killed Stan Lee.
Yeah.
I get it, but I'm like, man, there should have been some fallout then in any of these Avengers movies, because Hulk got fucked up in some of these around some bystanders. I don't know.
Is that the same thing that happens though in that Norton movie? Doesn't like the leader just barely get some of his blood into his forehead and then he starts doing the same thing?
Head moves. And he's like, yeah, I'll be in the next movie.
So I'm ready for the movie where Hulk gets a leg shot off or something and whatever, like in World War Hulk, and then everybody around him just becomes a fucking Hulk. I don't know, man. I get it though. Because only certain people with the genetic predisposition. Anyway, the performances, Julian.
But the performances are nice. I mean,
she had cuts from the accident on her, so I think the blood was supposed to have gotten into one of her cuts.
It did. It fell. I get that. I
don't think it just hit her skin, Brooks. I don't think.
And I'm sure that he was irradiating.
Him giving her a blood transfusion, because I don't think he would do that, knowing that it would affect her like that.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty dick move. Speaking of dick moves that were in this episode, right? There's a ton of those are some fun bits. There's some nice comedic moments, man. There are.
It works out.
It would be a dick move if he was like, I'm going to give you a blood transfusion of my Hulk blood. Anyway, Jelani, the performance.
But maybe it won't kill you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we don't get much. It's not there yet. So, I mean, we're just getting introduced to the characters and getting used to Jennifer being the protagonist. So it's so far it's just her, and she does a great job. I always think Tatiana does a great job in everything that she's been in recently. So it's okay. She's doing fine now. I mean, she got the job of a lifetime, and she's playing it well. I hope these other episodes like match or get better as they go. Because to me, Loki is my favorite still. I don't have anything higher than Loki for me. So, you got, and that was a great first episode. So, it's not that, but it tells its story. It's about, hopefully it'll tell its story when I get 2 or 3 episodes in, and I start to enjoy it a little more. We'll see.
What you think, Manny?
As far as the acting goes, I thought that they seemed believable as cousins. The way that they bounced off each other, had great chemistry there. I was kind of getting at with the comedy. I feel like Ruffalo had to do a lot of the goofy shit that would normally get pushed off to like Helmsworth. You know what I mean? And Hulk had to carry that. I feel like Ruffalo's delivery just wasn't quite there. But I can't say that I didn't smile and laugh throughout the episode. So I think the writing, I think the jokes were fine. I think it was just, again, I think I just had to kind of get myself into the mindset that, okay, the Hulk's going to be goofier, but I guess the groundwork was laid for, try to be fair. And I think the groundwork was, with the tacos and shit, you know what I mean? He's done, I see this as an absolute win. So I guess saying it out loud, I guess it should probably not have been a surprise. But yeah, I thought the performances were solid. Considering it's 2 people on an island for the entire episode that have to carry the entire episode, I think that they did a phenomenal job.
Nice. What did you think, Fable?
Yeah, I think they did a good job, but I'm with you, Manny. I know what you're saying. Like, for me personally, I think the characterizations aren't what I'm used to with those two characters in particular. Like, you know, him being the smart Hulk, but also being like goofy, like Manny's saying, and her being a little meek. I think she's a little bit buttoned up. At least that's the way she comes off to me, which is
Well, Jennifer, I think, should be buttoned up. Like that's kind of how
Yeah.
Jennifer is, right? And like,
okay.
hopefully, the whole conflict in this whole show will be her
Letting
getting
out.
too comfortable
Yeah.
being She-Hulk and not realizing who Jennifer actually
Right.
is.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I guess I'm used to that version where she's already confident and has that. But
Yeah.
that being
gets
said,
there.
the versions that they did perform, I found endearing. I found Ruffalo to be endearing, like a big brother. I know he's her cousin, but he's more like a brother. And her, you know, with her frustrations of trying to get back to her normal life and him trying to tell her, no, your life is different. And she's like, no, that's for you. That works for you. For me, it's a whole different, you know, I can do this. So I enjoyed the performances. And like Manny said, they carried it for the episode. So definitely did a great job.
Brooks, what do you think about the performances?
I thought they did good. I mean, I've always liked Ruffalo's Hulk. You know, he has that kind of deadpan delivery, and I think it worked well with her. You know, them constantly doing little jabs at each other. You know, kind of poking fun at each other a lot. I thought the dynamic between the two was fun, and you know, I assume that he's not going to be in too many, if any, episodes in the past. So it should be interesting to see, you know, how she plays off other characters, like, you know, like her friends and stuff like that. And maybe, you know, maybe we'll get some cameos. Maybe we'll get like a Daredevil cameo or something like that. It would be interesting. But yeah, well, I think overall, like, she did a great job. He did a great job. It was just, you know, it was a lot of fun.
So I guess Brooks isn't aware that we are getting a Daredevil cameo in this.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
Yeah.
Like,
Coming,
if anything,
man.
they would probably
And he's
do it.
supposed
I
to be
thought
in
it was
his.
going to be in this one.
He's supposed to be in his
Right.
yellow and red costume.
Yeah.
Ooh, the ugly Daredevil
And
costume.
I'm like, why did he switch to that? Like, what happened? Like,
He is
Dude,
Have a
blonde.
target on your head.
whoever put his suit together was like, we're out of red leather, bruh. Sorry. Like, I got some yellow.
I mean, but in the Daredevil yellow, wasn't that like his dad's boxing colors?
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
It is. Yeah.
But in the Netflix show, wasn't it just all red?
It was all
That's
right.
loosely. We
Well,
don't know if that's
black.
officially a continuation of that, though. It could be
Well, then
loosely.
I want
picking
to
up
see
from that.
Disney. I want to see Disney Matt Murdock go up against Netflix Matt Murdock in Secret Wars. That's all I want then. And then Iron Fist takes his place. Anyway, remember that in Civil War? Steph, what did you think about the performances in the episode?
You guys said it best. Manny said it earlier. The fact that this entire episode was basically two people on an island, and they carried it for almost 40 minutes. I think, you know, it's job well done. They had good chemistry. They had great rapport with each other. They did seem like they were cousins, like a big brother / role. Like there's some kinship there. Thought they were both great. I've come to expect this from Marvel with like funny Hulk, smart Hulk and stuff like that. So that doesn't really bother me, but I thought they were both fantastic.
Yeah, I do think the performances were very strong for the way that it was written. So let's get into that story. Let's get into the style of it, the structure of it, and the dialogue. Here's what I'm saying is I think that some of the jokes landed. However, some of the jokes, like they didn't have enough jokes to kind of carry it through, right? To keep it on like a comedic pace, like boom, 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 boom. Now I know that Marvel stuff is funny. Miss Marvel was funny. Hawkeye's got jokes. She-Hulk is a comedy, right? And so like what I'm expecting is just a little bit more like pop, pop, pop. I'm not expecting like sitcom level cheese, right? But and I think the show's going to ease into that because they did have to, in a shorter time span than most Marvel first episodes, aside from WandaVision, but they had to put out 3 of those to get people's attention, right? But they had to do the whole origin and kind of get the vibe and flow at the same time. So that's where it faults for me, is that if you want to do the origin, you could spread it out, right? Like I know that some people say they're tired of origins, but like if it was me, what I would have done is I would build her life up first, I want to know who Jennifer Walters is before the accident. I want to know who she is before. That's how then I can understand the struggle that's to come. Because that's the only thing is I feel a disconnect to the Jennifer from before. Because, and I get it, maybe she's somebody who's always avoiding a problem and shifting things and just trying to move forward and just never thinking. But I wanted to see just a little bit more of her before the accident happened. I think you could have stretched this out a little bit better where she first turns to She-Hulk. You could have had the scene where she flips out on the dudes at the bar, which one of my favorite moments is when the two dudes are hugging each other because they're so fucking scared, because it felt so real and honest. Like if I was with Jelani and Brooks watching something and She-Hulk popped up, I would be hugging one of the motherfuckers hoping that I could shield myself.
It wouldn't have been
me.
Asses and elbows, baby.
You'd be the best shield out of all of us, to be honest with you, Jelani. I mean, between you and Brooks, I mean, Brooks is, man. Yeah, you getting, I'm getting shot. I'm saying I'm wider than Brooks. I'd get shot, or I'd get anyway. She-Hulk's coming up with the fucking Uzis or some shit. What am I thinking, man? She's coming out of the movie theater with
She-Hulk.
Oh, you didn't like Shang-Chi, motherfucker. Anyway, so that's the only thing is I like the story. I just the way they try to shove it in real quick, the origin. I felt like they lost an advantage they had of kind of maybe telling that through pace. Maybe you could have told the origin through flashbacks throughout the entire series duration or something and utilized Hulk in a lot more, but I don't know where this is going. This is all based on the first. So I just think it had a little bit of problems with maybe needing a little bit more poppy, fast-paced jokiness to it and kind of like maybe pacing out the origin stuff a little bit better. But I don't know. What did you think about the story overall, Julian?
I mean, I agree in some ways with that because it is kind of tonally just all over the place. Like it's not dark, not at all, but there's slow moments that I understand that they should be poppy. It should be going at a fast pace. If you're gonna do this, do it at a fast pace. Tell me what's going on. Get it over with. That's fine. I didn't really see before. That's okay because actually the way Sensational She-Hulk was when I read it was it's just you're in the mess. You're in the mess and you got to deal with it. And that's how it started with those stories. And I don't mind this. This is fine. Her telling me immediately what's going on, telling me why she's doing a deposition and all these other things.
So I think someone needs to check on Bobby real quick. I don't know what he's
come up against She-Hulk.
Just call me, man. I've been known to take a She-Hulk down. Okay, bro. Brother Joe, make sure Bobby's okay, man.
Yeah. But it's a good show tonally. Like I know hopefully as other directors take their takes on this She-Hulk. And it's what, 6 episodes? So
9.
9? Oh wow. 9. We should get 12.
Same length as
WandaVision. Like a normal show, like a good show. Like Daredevil, straight the way through. Anyway,
dude, there are no normal show lengths anymore, and I think you need to do what the story demands. And I'm proud of Marvel for going beyond the 6-episode formula.
You look at Stranger Things Netflix. They've got like a 2-hour episode. What qualifies as an episode now?
That's what I was going to say.
That shit works too well, and that shit works so well.
Get an hour.
Yeah,
this should have been an hour.
That's the epitome, man. In this new day of an age, when we're streaming shit, like there's no time limit. Like you don't have to be off because the local news is coming on at fucking 10.
Right.
You don't account for ads.
Yeah, you don't have to do that shit. You can do like Stranger Things is the epitome. They did that shit and they did that so well in season 4, man. Of like being like however long it fucking takes to tell this episode story. Right? Like I fucking love that.
How Game of Thrones should have ended. That's how you're supposed to do it. And it's just
what do you think? Well, go ahead.
It's fine. No, that's all good. That's all I got for it anyway.
What'd you think, Manny, about the story?
I think the story works. I don't mind that we jumped right into the action and we didn't get a ton of Jennifer, because I don't think that's going to come into play in the story. I don't think this is going to be like we're going to see how she was like mousy and quiet and then became this strong, powerful She-Hulk. I think that she's already kind of demonstrated that as a character, she's already that way. She talks about how she has to deal with assholes all day and this and that. Like I don't think that that's going to come into play with this version of the character, the MCU She-Hulk. So I don't really
Don't
mind
you want to
that.
see that journey? Don't you want to see that
Oh,
struggle, man?
Dude, I want to see all kinds of crazy struggles. I mean, I've ranted on these shows and Moon Knight shows and stuff about things I'd like to see, but I don't have the opportunity to take these show creators, captive. I need to be captivated by them, right? So I gotta allow myself to go on the journey they're taking me on. And so I don't mind that we don't see. I'd love to, because I love drama. I love overly verbose, self-important writers on comic books for the same purposes, right? Because I like that shit. But in this case, I think that it works. I think that they used Ruffalo and her on the island the entire episode because this is what they could afford to get Ruffalo in there. And I don't think his CG is very cheap. So like we have the blow the load here. Let's get some really cool reviews on the first episode about how great the Hulk looked, because that's a character that they have all the models for and all the renderings for, so they can make him look phenomenal.
I guess that's a good excuse, because I was about to be like, who wants to talk about the wage gap when we can talk about the CG gap here, man? Because why does Hulk look way better than She-Hulk? Man?
Yeah.
You see that in all these CG movies. You saw it in Transformers, you see it in Ninja Turtles. Like once they have the base models down, then they can start,
that
upgrading
makes sense,
and making
they already got all the shit they need, right? They got to they got to start something new with her, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
So it works. It works. The so as a training montage, as an issue 0 of this MCU version of Hulk, She-Hulk, I thought it worked. I thought it worked really well.
Bruh, you nailed it right there. I was actually thinking about that earlier. I was like, this felt like an issue 0. This felt like an ash can almost, right? It felt like a preview. It felt like Rising Stars. Remember that stuff when they had like all these false starts where they did a 0 issue and a half issue.
A half issue for Wizard.
Yeah. It felt like that, right? What about you, Fable? I heard they should be doing a half cover, right? What do you think? You got Fable's got you covered. Instead of a die cut cover, what about just a half a cover? Maybe that would save.
Man.
I would pay $1 less, right? Right? Would you pay $1 less for a half a cover? Anyway, that's a whole other topic for another day.
I'd pay $85 for an acetate cover staple.
I was just about to say that.
So it ain't 85 anymore, homie. Okay? It ain't 85 anymore. Fable, what did you think about the story?
I think you guys are trying to say basically they committed the cardinal sin of not committing to the bit, right? They're not committing to the bit. They're kind of tonistically, stylistically all over the place. The show starts out one way, and by the end it turns into Batman 66. You know what I mean? With that courtroom battle, which is crazy. So it's sort of like Miss Marvel. The only difference is Miss Marvel kept committed to the bit for about 3 episodes before it fell apart. This one never really found a style or a tone to it. So style structure, it's a little all over the place. I read a quick review from somebody early on Instagram, and they said the writing it should have been Gilmore Girls, but what we got was 2 broke girls. And I thought that was hilarious. But like I said before, it has endearment quality to it. It has a quirkiness, a corniness to it that I'm attracted to with this and Miss Marvel. So the only thing is this show, like you said, it felt like a half issue. So like when she said, okay, check this out, broke the 4th wall, it's like I'm getting all this shit out the way, right? And then the show's really going to begin episode 2. We're going to find out what this show really is.
Yeah.
The next episode.
Episode 2, she's a sensation because she did that shit publicly, right? We'll find more about why Titania was there and all that kind of stuff. It starts building up. Plus, we did get a little bit of shit dropped out. Like, why did a Sicarian ship just drop in on Hulk? Like, is that some setup for some shit? Like,
I think the setup is how
it's just Korg doing some drunk driving.
Well, how weird can they want to show like how different the world is now? That way, when they do weird shit in other Marvel stuff, like spaceships just show up, it's just commonplace now. It's like, oh, it was a Sicarian courier ship. He's delivering a message. Like, great, fucking. Is there a fucking Kree Uber that comes
but
around?
Kevin Feige says it's all connected, Manny. It's all connected. It's not something meaningless. It's got to lead to Planet Hulk, which we kind of had a version of already. But maybe the news is that he had a fucking baby.
World War Hulk.
Scar's here.
Scar. Yeah,
Right.
Scar.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
fucking news. You never know.
And-
Here's the thing.
and-
Also, maybe it's like we need something to show up and wreck them. How about we wreck some cars? We're like, yo, we're already over budget for this episode, so we can't afford to wreck a couple cars for real.
We got
Only the
some
one.
trees.
So he's like, okay, well, what CG do we have? Because Manny was talking about, well, you already have some shit in the bank, right? In the database, right? That Sicarian ship, that's the Grandmaster ship, just with different colors. It's exactly the same.
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
get-
it was
I
this.
get-
Yeah,
It's the
Fucking
same.
repaints.
It's the
man.
same
Yep.
planet
Yeah.
and all that shit. But I guarantee you, they just
I
repainted
think it's someone
some
from.
shit. They put
I
an
think it's
acetate
actually going to be
cover.
someone from.
It's my birthday.
They put an
I think it's
acetate
gonna be
cover
someone from
over
Scar.
the Grandmaster ship, man.
That probably is the Grandmaster ship. He just has like a new. He'll find some reason to have redesigned it. You know, his
Yeah.
character Jeff Goldblum.
He got the he
Um,
called up. He was like, "Let me get that Black Flag treatment." Anyway, what do you think
My
about the story,
birthday.
Brooks?
I thought.
I was like, wait a second. First, I was like, "Did I fuck up? Did I not?"
Yo.
Like, what's going on?
But yeah, I mean, it seems like at first, that they were just going to dive right into her, like, being her doing her lawyer thing. But then, she's like, oh yeah, I was like, I know you guys won't be satisfied unless I explain how we got here. So it seems like this episode was kind of like just, the origin story basically. And I think they did it.
Streamlined, yeah.
I think they did it well. They pretty much got everything they needed to get out of the way in the first episode. How it happened, how she learned to deal with it. How she got back out into the world. That the fact that she doesn't want to be a superhero, she just wants to keep being a lawyer.
They
And,
kept emphasizing that.
I think that's the most interesting aspect is like she has no interest at all in being a superhero. She just wants to get back to her regular life. And the whole She-Hulk thing is just kind of a thing, that she has to deal with.
That's about to change.
But it's not overly dramatic. She doesn't. It's not like a big, like with the Hulk. He has problems. If he loses control, shit gets wrecked, and people can get hurt.
Yeah.
But with her, she's got it under control from the beginning, so it's a little easier for her.
I've seen other people say that the bit where first of all, I've seen a lot of people say that she's a Mary Sue, that she didn't earn any of this stuff yet, like that she's just more powerful to begin with. And I'm like, no, she's not. It's like she's trying, right? But the idea that she's able to control rage because her experience as a woman is different than that of a man, so she has more experience, maybe. That's maybe not true to every individual, but I've had plenty of conversations with women where, yes, that's something constant going through their heads, like this kind of threat that looms about them, right? So, like, I kind of get that, right? And I'm glad they didn't, like, I don't think it was preachy or anything with that. It was like kind of made sense to me. Like, she's already a little bit more, she doesn't need to do the meditation yet because she does know how to control her anger, but she still has some things to get to. So we will see that journey. Speaking of Journey, Steph's favorite band is Journey. Karaoke's
Stop
it every
Believing.
Wednesday night. Don't stop believing. That's right.
I think that what are we talking about? What's the topic for this
The
one?
story.
The story. I think that they did well enough with streamlining her to that her origin to get to this point. They kept trying to emphasize on how she doesn't want to use her superpowers, and she was very reluctant, even at the end in the courtroom, to even Hulk out. She had to get talked into it by her homegirl. And it reminded me of that thing Vision said in Age of Ultron, where like their mere existence incites bigger threats, and maybe she has that mindset from the get-go, like the fact that I have powers, even if I use them trying to do something good, I'm going to invite more trouble just because I've got this power and people see it. So maybe that's like something floating around in her mind already. I think that building her journey wouldn't have been bad, but they're trying to switch it up. It would just been like every other hero's origin, streamlining it, getting straight to like you guys keep saying, issue 0. Like maybe the next episode she's going to be in the thick of it. Like everyone knows she's She-Hulk. She's going to be in the court as She-Hulk, maybe. and she's going to be in the courtroom drama and stuff like that. We might even get the Daredevil cameo next episode. But I think, they did fine for a first episode, and Brooke said it. They nailed what they needed to nail for the most part. So I think it was fine.
Well, and they tackle a lot of really cool shit thematically in this issue without going like kind of, I don't know, it was Fable. Somebody mentioned like the woke, right? Like in this, you have a woman who she has this new responsibility, this new aspect of herself. And here's a man telling her, well, no, you need to stay on this beach and take care of your responsibility. And she says, no, I'm going to go do a career. I mean, how many times do women, I'm not a woman, so I can't speak to this intelligently, right? But are they told, stay home, take care of your kid now? And no, you have dreams, you have aspirations, you have a life outside of this shit. But here's the Hulk said, no, because I had to go through this, you have to go. I think that was a really subtle way of doing things like that. I like the theming of the company that she's going to war with or trial with, saying, did they know that? Did they have responsibility? Well, that depends on how you define the responsibility in this. And she is kind of shirking the superhero responsibility too. She now has great power, and she's like, I just want to be a lawyer. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of like really subtle things that you pick up on in this episode.
And
that I thought
the most
really
important, Captain America.
Yeah.
That was a big story bit.
Yep.
That was. I was about to be like, there are two comedic like jokes that are set up that get paid off very well for me.
They stuck to the bit.
But connected to what Manny was saying, I really think that now she's going to become a big success because of who she is. She's going to get connected to superhero oriented cases, right? So that's where Daredevil's going to pop up. That's probably where Frogman will pop up. Why is Titania there? We'll see. We'll get there, right? Hopefully. We know that she's going to be involved with Tim Roth returning as the Abomination. They'll be referencing a lot of the original Hulk shit, I'm sure. It's like the Incredible Hulk's been that, like, I don't know, man. Incredible Hulk is, yes, because it's like, it's canon, but they rarely
mention it.
Universal owns the rights still.
They own the solo rights. That's the
solo rights. So they can't really like do a Hulk movie. You can't do like a Planet Hulk movie. You gotta put Hulk in something.
By the way, Universal was the first movie studio just this week hit $3 billion since the start of the pandemic. So maybe Marvel's like, yo, Universal.
Was that Top Gun?
Let's retalk. It's probably, was that Top Gun? Well, no, that's Paramount, right?
Paramount.
Oh, is that okay?
That's what's saving Paramount.
I don't know what the hell Universal's made their fucking movie on. Like
family. It's all based on family, man.
Was it Fast and Furious? No shit.
There's only been one Fast and Furious movie since the fucking
Jurassic Park 2.
Jurassic Park.
Peacock. Yep.
Oh, okay.
I mean, all that shit.
You need to get back on that dark universe.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I would have watched that. It was a flimsy idea to begin with, but I would have watched it.
Well, they need to do it right because that's the original cinematic universe. And if they need anybody to do it, they need to call Guillermo del Toro and Mike Mignola. And if they're not available, call me. and I'll get all y'all involved. Okay, we'll plan the goddamn whole thing. Like, in fact, we'll do it for free, man. No, we won't. We won't do it for free. We'll do it on our own and we'll send it to you. Then Universal can pay us. Anyway, we're way off topic. The two comedic bits that were really perfectly set up were the Captain America's a Virgin bit, right? And the way that was paid off. But why is the funniest bit the fucking post credits where she's like, Steve Rogers, fuck, and it just ends, The other one is the Cheetos with the fucking chopsticks. Because she mentions that, and it's a nice little quirky bit right before the. It's always nice to have a line of like trivial dialogue before like a crash or something like that in a story because it kind of sets up the normality and mundaneness of things, and then the extraordinary happens. Like it just comes out of nowhere, like the lightning bolt, right? But the way it was paid off when later they're fucking chilling and like Hulk's like eating them out with the chopsticks, and he's like. The way Hulk was eating those flaming hot Cheetos or whatever made me was like, damn, that's like the best fucking food ever, because he was just like, it's like him with them tacos, man. I don't know. There's something charming about it. Let's get to the bit where we've been waiting for this. Special effects, the CG, all that stuff. Obviously, when this trailer dropped, it was bad. Whole fucking Instagram fucking personalities like Fable did whole shows where segments were about it, right? Fucking anyway. I thought the CG was fine. It has a hard task to do in this episode. There are 2 fully realized CG characters. This isn't like where Peter Jackson and his crew had like a year to prepare for fucking Gollum to really be shown in Two Towers. They just fucking had to do it, and they had to do it quickly. And we've heard all these stories about the conditions and the expectations from the people that are working there. And I'm like, well, sounds like fucking a job to me. But anyway, you know, they expect more than you can always deliver. But I thought it was okay. Hulk looked better than She-Hulk, but Manny kind of pointed out that they already had a lot of that shit kind of set up.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I thought it was fine. There were some moments where it was like, oh, this just, you know, like moments where the 2 of them in their fight are tumbling in the air, moments where things get thrown real quick and it just looks kind of weird or whatever. But that's like really picking at it. I think overall, it was better than Moon Knight's cape. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that right now. What do you think, Jelani?
I agree. Moon Knight's cape is trash.
Maybe that's why Moon Knight's cape was trash, because they were working on the She-Hulk show.
They're working on She-Hulk. But they
got someone like,
right.
they got Brooks down there working on the fucking Moon Knight cape. He's the one guy working on it.
Let's do it. We gotta save that cape.
It had to look like a moon, dude.
But it's the texturing for Hulk looks perfect. I like the hair on his arms. I like that it looks very realistic in a lot of different places. And She-Hulk looks amazing as well. Like they whatever, like I said before, whatever they did in the trailer, you know, I think they were just rushing. And now they were able to have more time. They knew they were a little bit more on a deadline though. So they pushed out the best they could do. And I think the face render for everything, it doesn't look like the face is misplaced on one side or the other. It's a lot of CG now. You know, look, you can tell that someone's in a motion capture suit. And they didn't use, even in the old days, they didn't do that. Because in the old days, like Matrix and whatnot, if you had a motion capture suit, it looked right. I don't know what it is. Thanos looks great in a motion capture. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of different things, but there's a lot more money backed by that. But She-Hulk, I pay attention to CG all the time. If it doesn't look like it's there, I don't care that it's not there. So for this, they did an okay job. It's fine. I thought the jungle matting looked kind of weird. I knew it was a green screen. You know, it all feels like it's on green screen now anyway. So they just stand in front of a big green screen, put whatever you put.
So you're saying everything looks like Spy Kids 3D?
Everything looks like Spy Kids 3D. So it's okay. I know it's not there, but they did a little better job than they did for the trailer. So if I had to rate just the CG for it, I'd give it a 3.5.
And that may scale up, right? If you really think about it, as compared to like for what it's doing on television.
The trailer was like a 1
on the TV.
Like
it was rough, man. It was rough.
Yeah,
it was failure. But they did a good job.
You know, and I think they also have a problem. You were talking about the texture on Hulk looks so good because they have hair, they have age that they're showing on him. With She-Hulk, they're not showing that. There's no hair to show.
Right.
There's no open port. Like they're not.
And her hair it won't move.
And why does her hair grow and get uncurly? I just want
that was what I was gonna say.
Keep it in line with the look of the comic book.
Bruce's hair gets shorter though when he transforms. Mark Ruffalo's hair is like longer, and it's like.
But don't they usually try to keep it the same? Like I don't know, man. You're right. Maybe the hair does.
When Hulk gets a beard, or Banner grows a beard, Hulk gets a beard. So
if I can read a comic and think that Dakin gets his fucking arm burned off and it grows back with the tattoo, I guess if I can accept that, I can accept it. So, Manny, what did you think about the CG?
I thought it was okay. I mean, as far as CG goes for a TV show, no, Hulk looked amazing, and as far
I knew this was gonna happen. Thank you.
Always. So Hulk looked fantastic. She-Hulk. It was a little rough. It's the character, the actress that plays her, with the shorter curly hair. I mean, fuck, Pixar just made Encanto, and they made Mirabelle's hair freaking phenomenal. So they could have done the same thing here, and they already had all the math done. So it would have been cool to just keep it that way. But this, I guess, is more in line with what it looks like on the show. The jungle scenes. Well, I agree with Robbie. Everything looks weightless when those two are fighting. And I don't know if it's a time thing. I don't know if it's just budgetary. Like, we don't have a guy who can render the individual palm tree blades today, so we're just not going to do that. But it did feel like the physics were off. I wouldn't say that though that's terribly distracting, because at the end of the day, these are characters that they made it a point to make sure that we saw them jump a shit pot of times before that fight, so that we would get the impression that gravity is going to be a little bit looser rules physics here. So I don't know. I thought it worked. I thought it worked well. So I'm just gonna shut up. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep rambling. It worked. It looked good.
What'd you think, Fable?
You know what? I think it's the cinematography that throws off the weight to it. It's not an actual weight. I think it's just the way the cameras are and their position. They're doing TV show style thing. They're not doing like action movie things. So when they're doing their action movie things, the cameras are not like dynamic to show that weight. But regardless of that, but regardless of that, I thought it was a huge improvement. Like 2-3 times more better than what we saw in those trailers. She looked definitely more realistic, and I did notice that with her hair. I was like, how did she go from tight curls to a full bob? Like, her thing was styled out and everything. But I thought they both looked great, and whatever they did to Mark Ruffalo's face for this one, they definitely took some of that Thanos technology, because he had a lot of emotion in his face. So did she. Yeah. This was a big step up, and for a television show, this is probably the best ever. Mm-hmm. There's no television show that
as far as the CG, yeah, absolutely.
What I really like is they've gotten better and better at showing the actor's face in the CG. Mm-hmm. You know, like they've gotten so much better at that. Could you imagine if they did Lord of the Rings today with fucking Andy Serkis? Like, Gollum would look really fucked up, man. Anyway, speaking of really fucked up looking Gollum, what about you, Brooks? You're the CG connoisseur around here. And what did you think?
I thought it was good. I remember seeing like previews for it, and like the She-Hulk, like, I'm not one to really, be too nitpicky about CGI, but like it did not. I saw it and I was like, man, that does not look good. But so I was glad, like, when I actually saw the episode, that it actually looked really good, I thought. And, when it comes to, like, superhero stuff, CG is, like, unavoidable, especially when it comes to characters like the Hulk and She-Hulk, who are, like, so massively big, and, like, you're not going to find a human being in that size. So I think they did, they've done really good so far with what they've got.
I think the only thing they could have done better would have been gotten Lou Ferrigno to play She-Hulk. Like with them little sandals on and everything painted green. Like, it'd been nice. He could
have done it.
He probably, I bet he would have. That dude would do anything for a paycheck. We know. Anyway, Steph, that sounded really dirty. If you really are a dirty mind. Steph, what do you think about the CG, man?
I thought it was great, especially compared to what we saw in the trailers. It was very serviceable. Like, I'm not, as long as it doesn't take me out the story, I don't need it to be, her hair to be the same thing. As long as it was serviceable, quite serviceable. So it's fine for me.
As long as it doesn't look completely like a video game, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't at all.
Right.
So.
There was some standout CG, like when they both jumped and landed at the same time, and she let out this.
She's like,
yeah. She was like,
she was like, man.
Yeah, I thought it was exceptional. Like,
if only they would have put the special effects care into Titania's fucking kick. Like, that
I think that was supposed to be.
It looked like she was like just on a fucking board, on a fucking like track, just going like so. Like, it looks so fucking stupid. And she punches her one time. You're like, yeah. And then luckily they played that Eve song, because that was to me still the best part of the episode. Because I hadn't thought about Eve in a while, man. Let's be honest, man.
Use that girl.
Watch how many. Watch those downloads go up over the
Yeah.
weekend.
They're gonna be like Eve's got the top,
Number one.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna quite hit the level that what's her name
Stranger
did
Things, Kate
from
Bush.
Stranger Things. Yeah, Kate
Yeah.
Bush. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna straight hit that.
She got $2 million.
Even I was like, oh shit, I haven't thought about that song in fucking ages. Let's listen to it. And like, oh, I'm adding to it. All right, it's time to rate this episode. So you out there in the chat, and we appreciate you all being here and your patience as we've been rambling on about this first episode of She-Hulk. Out of 5 you digs, what do you give She-Hulk episode 1? You out there in the chat, let us know, and we'll kick it off with Jelani.
Well, for this one, I mean, we're dipping our toe into She-Hulk. I'll be simple. I'll give it a 3 for now. I mean, it will get better, I hope. So this is a good starting point. I'm very pleased with it. Going forward in that CG, hopefully we'll get better over time. I think they have more time to render. Yeah. So we will see a better She-Hulk on top of this.
These motherfuckers are working on
and Abomination.
2. These motherfuckers are working on episode 2 right now, bro.
Yeah.
Like right now, they're like fucking. They're listening to us right now. Like, what did they say?
Like, okay, we'll touch that up.
Yeah. Change that fucking algorithm.
It looks fine.
I don't know how shit works.
Yeah.
Is there an algorithm involved? Anyway, all right. So 3. I think it's probably good. A lot of Marvel shows really start off strong in the first episode, and then they fucking lose us.
Then they lose.
So maybe it's good to kind of start solid, but like not quite like whoa.
Right.
Like maybe they will get better.
Yet.
It'd be great to have a show that gets better as it goes, not worse. That would be cool.
That'd be nice.
Speaking of getting worse as it goes, Manny, what'd you think? Out of 5 you digs, what do you give?
Oh, I'm gonna. Me and Tiff talked about this right after we watched it, right before the show, and we're gonna. The Mendiola households give it a 3.5. 3.5. Again, not our favorite first episode, but I mean, it's like McDonald's. They're like McDonald's. I still want to go and eat the same fucking McDouble every time, and I'm happy to do so.
You're like, look, bro, it came with the fucking toy.
Absolutely.
Like it came with the toy. What more can you want? Cracker Jacks don't even come in the fucking toys anymore.
No fucking stickers, bullshit. And I gotta scan it with my phone. My kid can see this fake.
Scan it to get this fucking app game. Anyway, yeah. Hey, but what about you? What'd you think?
I'm gonna give it a 3.69.
Okay.
It's not as strong as Miss Marvel. I think Miss Marvel had a more cohesive, more stylistic, more tight first episode than this. This was a little all over the place. I don't mind the goofy, bicycle kicking titanium coming through a wall in the middle. I don't mind it.
No, it'd been cooler if she was doing a bicycle kick, man. Then there would have been some movement. Instead, she was just like a cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
Like
it's because this whole show is a dream that Jennifer is having, and she finds the superhero lifestyle ridiculous. Therefore, when she's involved in superheroics, it goes to straight corn. That's why she kicks that way.
I just want to see how they use it going forward, because, like I said, I don't mind that kind of thing. I actually like it when it's done well. So if they're gonna go in that route, I just want to see what they do with it. So yeah, like Jelani said, we'll see if it gets better.
Nice.
I think with that kick, they were trying to play up the comedic effect. Just wanted to interject that.
Oh,
You think so?
Yeah.
I wish it would have went to straight panel layouts and we'd have seen like pows and
that would have been dope too.
Because then it ties in the fourth wall breaking and gets us ready for some goofy shit.
I mean, I think y'all are being as kind to its action sequences as I am for blood sports. But
that's the best part of Ang Lee Hulk is the fucking and all the weird transitions and shit.
The
camera angles and the comic panels. Yeah,
that's like the coolest.
Ang Lee doesn't understand Hulk.
I'll tell you one thing. One of the best things about Ang Lee's Hulk is that he does understand the character shit involved on everything. Yeah. He understands the psychological level of everything better than any other Hulk movie. He just couldn't translate that into an action.
Ang Lee's a hack.
Right. The action I was gonna say is
hack.
What if we had a giant CG Nick Nolte? Like who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want that? Anyway, Nice.
had it in the Mandalorian, and it was fucking glorious. All right. Was he CG, the little pig guy, or was he? It doesn't matter. The joke.
No, he was a CG. That was a practical suit.
Well, then,
speaking of practical suits, Brooks makes practical suits out of the skins of the victims that he collects every fucking All Hallows Eve. Brooks, what do you think? Fuck, man. Out of 5 you digs, what do you give it?
I give it a 4. I think it's got a lot of promise. I'm definitely interested to see where they go next with it. And I was pleasantly surprised because I don't have a lot of investment in She-Hulk as a character, but I thought the idea was interesting, and I like that they're doing kind of the MCU is like stretching out to like more less
Subtle
shined
things.
on characters,
Yeah.
And I think She-Hulk's a good one to bring out to kind of move along the next phase of this cinematic universe stuff.
Especially
and maybe do it in a different kind of way than like other shows would do. Have it a little more comedy and like have it actually feel more like a comedy and not like just like an action movie with a lot of jokes that sometimes land and sometimes don't.
Yeah. And it's going to be all worth it when we get that post-credit scene at the very final episode where She-Hulk gets left with Hulk's baby, and
Titania shows up. Is like, I need
Titania and Hellcat are there, and the second season of She-Hulk, the second season of She-Hulk is 3 women and a baby.
I'd watch it. I'd watch it.
Yeah, that would be great. As long as it's dedicated to Leonard Nimoy, who was the director of the original 3 Men and a Baby, which we need to do on PCP Movie Night for some reason. I don't know why, but we need to do it. And if we do it, it's the 6 of us that are doing it. God damn it. You're all stuck with 3 Men and a Baby. Speaking of being stuck with 3 Men and a Baby, Steph, what did you think about what would you rate She-Hulk episode 1?
I'm gonna have to give it a 4 or 5. I really enjoyed it. Like Brooks, I didn't have any like knowledge with this character. It's not someone I necessarily read too much of. I'm not one of my favorite characters. So this worked for me. I wasn't expecting much. I didn't know what to expect going into the show. So the fact that I was able to enjoy it so much the entire way through, I think that speaks volumes on how well it was crafted. 4 or 5.
Hell yeah, man. Bam. Nice ratings, everybody. For me, I'm going 3.5. I think it's a solid enough start for what they were trying to do. They were trying to get the vibe and tone of the show and the origin all kind of truncated down into one short episode.
Streamline it.
I think they could have done like a 2-episode debut, right? And they could have like kicked Flash's ass here, because Flash is a really good on this TV level first episode origin story, right? Like, I'm not saying anything about Flash going forward from that point on, but like that's a good pilot is what I'm saying. So as a pilot, I think it's decent enough, but it sets up enough that I think this show has promise. I think it has room to grow and improve. And for the first time, I think that an MCU show might actually improve and not get worse. I don't know. I mean, Miss Marvel was really strong for 3 episodes, man. Really fucking strong. Moon Knight was really strong for like 1.5.
No, come on.
Anyway, it always goes back to throwing shade on Moon Knight. So for me, I'm going 3.5. 3.5 from me.
It was trash,
3 from Jelani. 3.5 from me. 3.69 from Fable. A 4 from Brooks, and a 4.5 from Steph for a PCP average of 3. Let's carry the 2. Let's not forget the differentiate. That's not a fucking mathematical term, is it? It's 3.69, dude. Let's take a look at
that means right.
Big Llama says 4 you digs. Taylor says 3.25. Triple B says 3. Bob from Everything Comics says 4 you digs. I enjoyed it. I'm a huge fan of Tatiana Maslany. Highly underrated as an actress. I think she's fine too. 5 you digs. I like a tall woman, says Bobby.
Bobby giving us those tidbits.
Yeah, Bobby.
And if you ever need someone to back you up on a giant woman.
Yeah, right.
That's Bobby's too, baby.
Bobby's been there.
Oh, yeah.
That's right, son.
Futurama.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. For real. And if you want to get more into the character of She-Hulk, if you want to read a comic series, what's the one comic series Robbie would recommend to get into She-Hulk? It's the John Byrne run.
Yeah,
You can
man.
get it right here on this
Oh, yeah.
omnibus, which has all these delicious issues right there, including the issue where a Stan Lee looking character gets topless photos of her and publishes them without her consent. You want to talk about a woman power fucking issue? That's one. Because she fucking is like throws it
Funky
down on that
Flashman
fucking dude.
energy
It's
there.
great. Yeah, it is some funky Flashman right there. Speaking of funky Flashman, we are out for tonight, but join us next week when we talk about She-Hulk yet again. Same crew joining us for episode 2. But before that, join us on Saturday night for Dylan's Horror Show. We're talking about Nightbreed. It's the last episode before Horror Fest starts, y'all. So you'll see a little bit of a hiatus on PCP Movie Night and on Dylan's Horror Show after Nightbreed. However, when we return, it's Horror Fest, and it's a big deal this year, y'all. It's gonna be good. I think there's not a. I don't think there's a one that's gonna piss y'all off.
Oh, Demon Knight! I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Dude,
Love
so
it.
good.
I love Demon Knight.
I'm worried that some people may be like, Serpent in the Rainbow's a little cheesy, but like, I hope y'all understand what's going on here. And Jelani's like, why you got to do Lifehouse on Dylan's Horror Show? I work Saturdays. I want to do it. I was like, well, you should have appreciated Funhouse. That's all I'm going to say. Should have appreciated Funhouse, you motherfucker.
You just had to find it. Quit crying.
Anyway, I had already
Right.
had that, man. Anyway, Jelani, thanks for joining us, man. Final thoughts.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, glad to be here. Hopefully this show improves, and it's got a good start. So we'll see where it goes. So, and I'm glad to talk with you, fine fellows.
Yeah, I hope this show that we're doing improves as well. I really do, because this episode was a little shaky. The CG was a little wonky on Brooks down there. I don't know. We could have rendered him a little bit better, man. I don't know.
Why does his hair change when he becomes Brooks? It's like, God damn it, Horseshoe. Can't you just get the shit right?
Dick move. Dick move.
By the way, do check out our TeePublic site in the description below and on our website, because we do have the Horny Time Horseshoe shirts available, as well as the Gigantic Moronic Splendor. And I do believe the Horror Fest shirts are available as well. They don't have the tour dates on the back. We got to get that going, but they are available. It's a pretty cool design that Manny came up with too. So Manny, thank you for that. Manny, final thoughts.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I'm excited to talk about this every week with y'all. And yeah, that's what's up.
Nice. Fable, final thoughts, man.
Watch She-Hulk, man. Hang out with us. Let's go.
Hell yeah, man. Watch She-Hulk hang out with us. Brooks, final thoughts. Thank you for being here again, of course.
Oh, yeah, man. I was glad to get in on the ground floor on this one. It's like on the Miss Marvel one, I only got to do like the like probably the worst episode of Miss Marvel. This time, like I get to see the whole thing. But yeah, hopefully it'll get even better.
Hell yeah. Speaking of getting better day by day, Steph, man, what is
Final
up, man?
thoughts.
Final thoughts.
How do we know that Steve wasn't lying to Bruce when he told him that he got some? He could still be a virgin.
Cat don't lie.
Bro, how many people told you they lost their virginity at 14? Oh, my babysitter when I was 12. Like, how many times you heard that story? I'm right there with Steph.
Well, I think I've even heard the 1943 USO tour story from some of my homeboys. Like, I think that's a pretty common.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's
That's,
the
come on
USO
now.
show, and he's Captain America.
We're not so sure with
Come on.
Steve Rogers, you know.
Steve got
That's all I'm
some.
saying.
And he gets some now. So there.
I like it, man. Steph's committed, man. He's like Oliver Stone with the JFK fucking assassination. He's like, no, I'm not satisfied. I'm not
There's
satisfied.
something deeper to it. No.
I'm not satisfied either,
Vice
Manny. I hope
president.
you're diving in deep, because I'm doing it as
dude.
we speak, man. And you get ready.
Oh, dude.
And I hope your brother in cryo are ready too, man, because your brother was not ready about Hollow Earth. I'm just gonna say that
He was not. And I can guarantee you, he will not be ready for JJ.
All right. Well, I'm really excited to see where the show goes for She-Hulk, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. I'm really excited to see how the story and the show develops, but more importantly, how our thoughts develop over the course of these 9 goddamn episodes we got to cover. So
2 months.
the first, 2 months. We're down though. We're down.
Disney Plus.
We're down.
God,
Yeah.
it's like,
2 months of Disney Plus. Oh, it's such a fucking burden, Jelaine.
it is a burden.
It's such a burden to have all this media content available at my
Why can't we
fucking.
just have one big streaming service? Like, give everything to Netflix.
That's
I
called
don't care.
That was
cable.
called cable,
You just
yeah.
want to go back to cable?
Yes.
You got to DVR that shit. You got to set it right. You're like, I forgot about the time change. Anyway, speaking of the time change, we're changing the time right now. We're dipping out. Y'all have a good one. And